Hello. I'd like to thank you for joining us today on this chilly November afternoon. We have decided to record the step-by-step IEP process as an example for future references. So you're aware we are currently recording this meeting. I am Ms. Bill, the special education teacher at Mitchell Elementary. In attendance with me are Miss Diane Stella. She's the kindergarten teacher. And Ken and Barbie James. Here are the students' parents. Okay? And, oh, here's Jamie. There's Frankie Ernie playing Jamie. He's 5 years old. He's in kindergarten. He acts out, he kicks, he bites. He's got some attachment issues. So we are meeting for Jamie, and we have also here with us today our Principal Gnome, okay, and Counselor Tom. Some others who are joining us are the school psychologists, Totem de Mexico. Let's see. Mr. Transformer is our physical therapist. Our occupational therapist, Mr. Sled Dog. Who did I miss? Our speech language pathologist, Mr. English. Did we get them all? And a staff member from Rancho Escuela Preschool is on the phone. So we have Miss Sherry from Rancho Escuela Preschool. Okay, that's everybody. Okay. She knows Jamie pretty well. She had Jamie for a couple of years at her school, so she wanted to listen in, and if she can give us any input, then she'll do that. So, a little bit of background. Mr. and Mrs. James, remember Ken and Barbie James, they are very involved with their son's education in this school, as well as in his preschool class in the previous years. And Miss Diane Stella has visited with Ken and Barbie James several times about Jamie's behavior. And they decided that it's time to seek assistance from special services. So, Mr. and Mrs. James have noticed some behaviors at home too, as well as in the community when they're out with the family, and they really decided that it's time. So, Miss Diane Stella has documentation from September and October showing some attachment issues affecting Jamie's social skills. He's acting out, he's throwing tantrums, he bites, he kicks, and he just displays a lot of other non-compliant issues. So, we are meeting today to get Jamie some help. So, Miss Stella, please share with us what strategies you have tried with Jamie. Thank you, Principal Gnome. My class procedures each morning since the beginning of this school year include going over expectations. We have extended time as necessary for students. I give verbal notice when we transition to a new activity, as well as visual notice for transitions. The parent in our classroom goes around to help all students wherever there is a need. I've given him one-on-one work time, short breaks, choice rewards. I am just at a loss on what I can do for this little boy. Thank you, Miss Stella. It sounds like you have tried a variety of strategies. We'll work together to find what will work best for young Jamie. Counselor Tom, have you been involved prior to our meeting? Yeah, Principal Gnome. Jamie and I work together once a week. We try some play therapy and read social stories together. He seems to really enjoy coming to my office for our 30-minute sessions. Thank you, Counselor Tom. Mr. and Mrs. James, do you have any questions so far? Miss Stella had mentioned some strategies she's tried, and I believe Counselor Tom has contacted you prior to their weekly sessions.
I do not have questions just yet, but I do see some of the same behaviors in her home that Jamie displays in school. He does show some physical outbursts and has kicked us at home too. I'm just so worried about our little boy.
Mr. and Mrs. James, I understand the fears you have for your son. I want you to know that we'll work together to find the best ways to help Jamie be successful. I am glad that we're getting started on this so soon, and I really appreciate the time and efforts that you both put in at home as well as meeting at school with us. I think with this great team and all of our collaboration, that we can really get Jamie on a good, successful track. Miss Stella has shared some of Jamie's present levels of performance regarding his social skills and his behavioral wellness. His academic scores appear to be reasonable with where we are in the early part of the school year. I can see from his handwriting sample too that his letters are difficult to decipher. What's your voice?
Yes, we worked together on how he should hold his pencil, and I provided various styles of pencil grips and larger, fatter pencils, but it's still difficult for him. He refuses to do any cutting in class also. These are both such important skills in kindergarten.
Hey, Mr. Sled Dog here. I'm an occupational therapist for the school, and it sounds like Jamie could use some assistance with his fine motor skills. How is he with his home skills? Does he put on his clothes and brush his teeth by himself?
Hi, this is Sherry from Ranchero Escuela Preschool. We noticed that Jamie really disliked getting ready for recess last winter when he had to put on snow pants and boots. He said it was too hard for him to fasten the Velcro on his boots and coat.
Yes, he hates getting dressed, and it's always a fight. It looks like we have more work to do on that than we previously thought. What can we do for Jamie? Oh, Mr. and Mrs. James, please don't feel frightened about this. We are here to collaborate. We all want Jamie to find success so he can accomplish tasks independently and have an enjoyable time at school or when he's in the community with your family. Do you feel that some assessments would be appropriate for Jamie?
Yes, I believe that all of us at this table think it would be the best route to go.
Mr. English and Mr. Transformer, what are your thoughts? Do you notice any needs with Jamie? I have a couple of quick screeners I could use to test his hearing and some activities to assess his sound production. These could help us guide or rule something out. We got some different kinds of seating, wobble stools, chair bands. We could incorporate these for some of Jamie's sensory issues if you want to try that.
Oh, thank you, everyone. We're so appreciative of your input and the care you're willing to provide our son.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, everyone. Mr. and Mrs. James, would you like to proceed with the assessments to help determine what special services might be needed? Yes, please. We both feel very strongly that Jamie needs more help. Jamie. Okay, so the way that this process will start is I will have you sign this prior written notice. There you go. It's a consent form stating the actions that the school will take and the purpose of our actions. It describes the evaluation procedures and assessments that we will perform. It also states your rights as the parents, that you can obtain assistance in understanding the procedures. I will let you take this home. There you go. You can take that home. And I will let you take this home. And if you'll please return it within the next 3 days so that we can get started. Do you have any questions so far? No? Okay. So please feel free to contact me if you do. Anytime. You've got my number. Thank you, everyone. I feel that we have a great start to get Jamie on a successful path. If there are no further questions, we can finish up here. You two will look over the written notice and return it to school. Hi, everyone. Thank you for meeting again. I can see that most everyone is here from our original meeting that we had, except for the physical therapist and Miss Sherry from Rancho Escuela Preschool. She was not able to dial in today. So we were able to get to the testing sooner than we had expected, and so we were able to finish it sooner than I expected. There is a window about 60 days that from start to finish you have to have everything completed, and that includes Saturdays and Sundays. So we were very grateful to get this done before Christmas, since we'll be going on our Christmas break this week. So each of us has completed assessments with Jamie to see where he can qualify for some services. So Mr. Transformer, the physical therapist, who is not here today, he did find that he could provide some flexible seating options for Jamie, but he was unable to attend tonight's meeting. So Miss Stella, he will contact you about what options that you think would be best for your classroom. Okay, thank you. I'd like to go around the table too and allow everyone to share their findings, if that's all right. As a school psychologist, part of my duty is to gather evidence through surveys completed by Mr. and Mrs. James and Miss Diane Stella. The data shows that Jamie has some attention and emotional needs. I'd like to meet with Jamie for 20 minutes per week to work on some strategies to help manage his emotions and anger. You don't talk so angry yourself. Mr. Sled Dog here. Much of occupational therapy includes fine motor skills, those activities we do with our fingers. Jamie and I work together to complete some cutting, writing, coloring, zipping tasks. His loose grasp and finger placement show that some occupational therapy will help him with those fine motor skills. I'd like to meet with him for 20 minutes per week also. Woof. Speech, language, and hearing all go together, so I wanted to see where Jamie's abilities lie. I gave him a hearing evaluation, and it appears that his hearing is within the normal range. His speech skills are also adequate for his age. You can hear that he does not have all of his sounds yet, but those will typically develop by age 7. I
think it would be okay if we allow Jamie's speech to develop on its own for now, but we'll continue to monitor it in the future. Mr. and Mrs. James, how do you feel so far about the results from the school psychologists, occupational therapists, the physical therapists, the speech language pathologist? How are you feeling about these results? Well, I think these plans will be okay. Can we also work with him at home on things? I just want to make sure that we're not teaching him in a different manner than he's learning at the school. Oh, yeah, you may certainly welcome at home. Or certainly you are welcome to practice some things at home. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It is 12:38 in the morning. So some Play-Doh or some writing in the sand are fun activities, and you can practice with his toothbrush grip or buttoning shirts and so on. Oh, yes, we can do those. Thanks so much for the ideas. Oh, Counselor Tom, you've got something to add. Thank you. I'll continue to visit with Jamie each week for our social stories. Are you okay if I create another group where we can invite some classmates to work on these friendships and social skills too? Yes, that'd be most wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing your ideas and your information here. I feel that we have a variety of ideas and strategies that we can put in place for Jamie. I do have a couple more areas of concern that I need to visit. Jamie and I completed some academic evaluations, and his IQ and his test scores are appropriate for his age and grade level. I will not need to meet with him for the school subjects such as math and reading and writing, but I do want to look at a behavior intervention plan. Sometimes it's called the BIP, the BIP. This is a document that we'd create stating his negative behaviors, the function of those negative behaviors, the desired behaviors that, those behaviors, how we'd like him to behave and act, and how we will go about achieving those desired behaviors. It is something that the whole team is responsible for creating, but I think the staff in school would most likely be implementing the plan. Does anyone have any questions? Sled dog, principal, transfer. Oh, you're not here. Okay. If we are all in agreement, I'd like to start writing the individualized education plan, or the IEP for Jamie. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to pull up this document here. While I'm working on that, I want to give you this manual. Here you are. This is the North Dakota Parent IEP question resource. So this can help with questions you have about the IEP document, which is a legal document, and by law we are required to provide, we're required to abide by the provisions in the document. So it's the Parent Guide to Special Education in North Dakota, and you can refer to this for your questions, or as always, please feel comfortable to contact me with your concerns. Okay, so we are going to get started on the IEP now, that individualized education plan, and it's just a working document. So I can be typing and filling in information, and right here, parts A and B, it already shows your family's demographics, so please review this to verify that everything is correct. Here, if you're the brighter one, you look it over. Okay, so our system pulls this information directly from our district files. All right. So moving on to part C, it shows the team members for Jamie. I will be his case manager. Ms. Bill is my name. And the one who is in charge of his IEP and all of his special education services. Okay. The child, Jamie, does not typically attend these
IEP meetings. But there is something. Okay, so the child will not typically attend these IEP meetings, but there are some resources and one of my textbooks who have stated something, and I'm going to quote this by Gargiulo, Richard M. Gargiulo. In-person centered planning, the IEP team, including the parents, the student, and other stakeholders, such as the principal, the counselor, the psychologist, the therapist. This begins the IEP process for creating a vision for the student's future. So that means that if Jamie is attending his meetings with us, he could be able to tell us his strengths, those things that he's good at, his preferences, the things that he likes and dislikes, his needs, what he needs from us to succeed, and the support, what tools we can provide for him. So I will leave it up to you to decide whether you prefer to have Jamie at our meetings or to not have him here. So, any questions on that? No? Okay. We'll continue to Part D down here, which holds the special factors of behavior, limited English proficiency, or visual and hearing impairments. And we did talk about Jamie's behaviors getting in the way, so I'll mark yes for number 1, stating that his behavior does impair his learning, and we are considering the use of positive behavior interventions. Did the SLP talk about his portion? I'm sorry, I'm so tired. Okay, so we are considering a positive behavior intervention plan, and that is so we can really help Jamie with his behaviors, because they are getting in the way of his learning and other students' learning, so that's an important factor that we need to look into. Okay. The next page with Part E has us list Jamie's present levels of academic achievement and functional performance. So this information will include the scores and observations as well as the evaluation data we recently collected. Do you have any questions thus far? No? Okay. We'll continue. Part F contains annual goals and objectives that we'll create for Jamie, and we'll review the progress each quarter at report card time. So you'll receive a copy of the progress report, and you also get a copy of the IEP for your own records, okay? So we will meet each year, the annual review, and then every 3 years is the reevaluation with more assessments, just to see how we can best help Jamie as he learns and grows. Okay. Part G on this document here, you can see right here because you're right beside me looking at it. Part G holds district and state assessment accommodations. He does take some assessments in kindergarten, so I'll mark that he can receive approved accommodations, and we'll discuss those momentarily. Part H looks at participation in activities with his peers who are not disabled. He'll have regular PE, art, music, library, and so forth. Okay, and the setting displayed here shows that he'll be in the regular classroom for at least 80% of the time, and he will have the 20-minute sessions with occupational therapists and the school psychologist, and we'll mark that on Part J. So he will attend school for the full day, and we're not going to look at the extended school year at this time. It's so early, and it's not necessary right now. So I know that this has been a lot to look at and a lot to listen to. Do you currently have any questions, Ken and Barbie? Okay.
So Jamie will get to spend the day with his friends, is that right? This is such a big concern of mine. I worry that he'll miss out on the fun parts of school, and I worry that he'll start to dislike school and become more frustrated and show more behaviors. I understand your concerns. We do have a pretty flexible class schedule, and I don't want him to miss these fun things either. They are important in building that love of learning, and the others and I will be sure to schedule his session so he does not miss out. Thank you for the reassurance. Anyone else who is here, do you have any other further questions or concerns that we need to go over? Nobody? Okay. So we'll write the goals and the behavior intervention plan and review them with you to ensure that you approve of it, and we'll get you a copy of the IEP document completed once it's completed, and you're going to receive a copy for your records. There's going to be a copy going into his file at school, and it's all confidential, just so you're aware that others who do not need to know will not know about Jamie's needs. Okay. So those instructors who need to see a copy of his goals, they will also get that goal page, just the goal page that they need to see. Let's see. If there are no other questions, we'll wrap up this meeting. No questions, Sled Dog, Principal Noom. Okay. All right. Thank you all for your time and your contributions to Jamie's education. He's a sweet little boy, and he's very fortunate to have you all working with him. Thank you.